our meeting to get started. Thank you for your attendance. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Mr. Saunders, and thank you, OV and Mr. Williams for being here as well.
Thank you.
We're gonna go ahead and get started with our consent decree update, and you'll start us on that, and we'll go through the process and stop if you have any questions.
Okay, Commissioner,
Yes, sir.
thank you, Commissioner. Before you is a copy of the latest status report dated today. It's in the same format and covers the same items that was covered in previous reports.
Let me say this real. Dave, you sitting in for Commissioner Gannon, who's not with us today, right? Okay, all right, just wanna make sure you're on record for that. Okay.
Okay. The as usual, we have a few photos in the document.
Did everybody get a copy of the document at the table? You good?
Yes.
Okay.
You got a copy of it?
No, you weren't. You were checking your email.
But I share with Zach.
Yeah.
I share with Zach. So we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
How you got?
One, Ken.
We good?
So we can
You got one?
get through this.
Madam Attorney, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But as usual, what we're trying to do is just add, showing some photos of active projects. The North Shallowfoot Booster Pump Station is one of the projects depicted. The other is the demolition of the raw water pumping station on the Chattahoochee River. And then the third one is a picture showing the phase one construction at Snapfinger Wastewater Treatment Plant.
Okay.
The first chart, table we have is showing where we are with jobs this month. Not a big increase over last month if you had that report in hand. Not a tremendous amount of activity this month, but you can look at that and can see where we are in terms of jobs created, number of people that have been working on the project, on the program, and what is the split between what is non-DeKalb residents and DeKalb residents.
And correlation is the race for jobs is in direct correlation with the amount of spending and projects that have been bidded and work on the ground right now.
That's correct.
Okay.
The next chart is showing the LSB participation, showing the amount of contracts awarded total, which is around 89 million and $27 million for LSB participation and contract awards. The next is, and in the bottom of the chart is showing the expenditures, $32 million on the expenditures with prime contractors and $7.6 million with LSB. And you can compare the awards to the expenditures. So the expenditures still lagging a little bit in terms of awards, but it's not dropping. At least it's improving a little bit more. Our process of monitoring is getting a little bit better and should continue to, as we go forward, further over the next few months, should give a more accurate picture of what we will feel is a very accurate picture of those who have worked on the job.
As it relates to your last statement in the last meeting about the LSB participation and the lien waiver for that, where are we with that as well?
That's still a work in progress. I thought we might have a report this meeting, hopefully by the next update, or even by the next committee meeting, we may have something to report on that.
Okay, excellent. All right.
The next chart is showing the assignment status, and that remains the same, as is the cash flow. The cash flow has not been updated. We may do some adjustments on that, or have something that will show where we are right now. There's some, at least particularly the RFP for the capital improvement program. when that goes out, we will have to refresh that for those who are proposing on that. So this chart should get updated then. The other thing is that the contract that we awarded, the work order that we awarded for construction cost estimating, or estimating overall, that's proceeding, and we would hope by the end of the year that we will have the entire capital improvement program budget book, an update of that. And that should give us we'll have a
Better picture.
Yeah, better picture, an updated view.
Since we're on the budget process and budget report, well, what do you think we have to do in the next 60 days for an action plan, I guess, to make sure that we increase the spending in the next 60 days? I know that's asking a lot. And how can we put more boots on the ground as it relates to awarding of contracts and those kind of things? Is that in your preview, or is that something that's held up in procurement? I mean, what can we do in the next 60 days? I know we're not spending a lot right now, but we have 60 days left in the year. How do we put more boots on the ground? Are we planning to put more boots on the ground? And how do we increase spending so we can move forward before the 2014 year hit us in the face?
Purchasing and contract is doing a pretty good job, and we.
I wasn't trying to throw Mr. Walton under the bus, so I was asking a question.
No, I know.
Okay.
No, I know you wouldn't.
Okay, all right.
And if you did, I'd pick him up from under there.
That's what I figured you'd do, yes.
Hopefully he's
I'd throw him
surviving.
back down.
And Zachary throw it back? Okay.
No, it is. I mean, we're making a lot of progress. I mean, the last board meeting, you saw a number of things that were coming through,
Sure.
that you were approving, and it had CIP funded, and there's more coming. From one look I had of what we had in purchasing and contract,
Sure.
would generate about $110 million next year.
Next year.
Yeah, but it's a gradual increase, and so I think we're on the right track there. We certainly have, how we're working together right now is about as good as it can get. The biggest thing.
Hold on, son. Is that from Mr.?
Well, I was just gonna, I believe the first meeting in October, we're scheduled to bring the large program manager to the
Okay.
board.
That's important.
That's huge.
Yeah, I think that
That's huge.
I think the committee needs to see, and also the board commission needs to see, an action plan just for the next 60 days. I know we're not spending a lot, but people are now asking, what are we doing, how are we working, how are we gonna wrap up to begin the 2014 year, and what we're gonna do going out this year. No holidays are coming. So I was hoping that we see, as you probably tell me later on, an action plan to make sure we're spending a little bit more.
Yeah, and we're working on that. I mean, we're bringing in some
Okay.
scheduling support right now in advance of the program managers to try to expedite
Okay.
getting those projections. But the biggest thing is overall is to expedite everything that we have on the pre-construction side. Now, that includes any planning, design, hiring of construction managers, or any program management, any purchasing activities that precede construction.
Okay.
That's the most critical thing right now for us on this program.
Okay.
The
Let me-
jobs are in construction.
Right.
The 77% of what jobs are gonna come in on the construction side. So we've gotta do those things that come before that and move them as quickly as we can.
Madam Attorney, not to put you on the spot either, are we working toward outsourcing or looking at the construction lawyer, a person that can look at construction design and those kind of things? Where are we with that also? I want to make sure that in 2014 we're rolling forward. Do you have an action plan for that as well to help us out?
I do not have an action
You're so
plan.
honest.
I do not have an action plan for that. I need to learn more about it
Okay.
and what is needed, but I will catch up with you
Okay,
and be ready when you're ready.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The next
Let
chart
me just say,
shows,
we've been joined by our animal presiding officer, Commissioner Sharon Moore Sutherland, so jump in anytime you get ready. Okay. Go ahead, Ken.
the next chart is showing expenditures. We're at 71.1 million currently. That was at the end of, and it says June, but that should be the end of August on expenditures.
You got June 30th, should be August
Yes, 31st.
31st. That's on the CIP expenditures or pie chart.
That's correct.
Okay, 71 million and 1.2 right there. Okay, gotcha.
All right, and you can see that we're still, not spending a lot, we're still hovering around 5% of the total program budget.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Okay, I know that how swiftly are we
Okay, same question.
creating expenditures? You know, I know that you just started with, you know, these added responsibilities just a few weeks ago. But how far have you been able to come with that since you've been on board?
Well, as we were discussing a little bit earlier, we are making progress. I think that there's a good bit of activity work that is moved into purchasing and contracts. That's a good start on next year. We are getting close to decision on at least a recommendation to move forward on the consent decree program management, which is critical. And I would expect that by the end of the year, we will be discussing or moving a recommendation for the CIP program management. Those are the key things to get done. We have run out of time and money on the on-call engineering services. I think that there'll be a piece coming on the agenda.
That's correct.
Did it come through the committee last month or something?
There'll be something for next
Next
meeting.
time, okay.
That is adding, on 8 contracts, we have $300,000 on each one of those contracts for 6 months. At the same time, we will be putting out another RFP for, and it won't call it on-call because it's engineering services, which is both design and construction management. And that will probably it'll be multiple firms, probably somewhere $50–60 million, which will probably be the largest professional service procurement that we'll have coming forward. Fairly complicated, but what we're working on is trying to get a way that evaluation committee can effectively evaluate and make a decision, and then also set it up in a way that once it comes to you all, that you can look at it and it makes sense. We'll probably be reviewing all of that with you beforehand.
Okay, so that'll be before the end of the year?
Yes, we're trying to move that as quickly as we can right now.
What was spent last month for some approximately?
$4 million.
So we got a $4 million increase?
What did we spend?
Yeah, was it
Yes,
6 to 8
that's
million? 6 to 8 million, when did we spend 6 to 8 million?
Last month.
And what did we spend this time?
It's 71.
71, 2. Okay, so you're saying 4 million, we're moving, it's a $4 million increase. Okay, all right. Okay, got it.
No. All right.
Yes.
The next charts are tables are showing the status report of the individual line items. Won't go through those in detail, but you can.
You always gonna have, I'm gonna say pink as the completed items, going through the chart each time we do an update.
Yeah, and there may be some changes in that chart that shows the
Don't change colors,
assignments.
we're getting close to.
No,
Right.
we're
Just
gonna be
something we
there.
can
I'll make sure
understand.
that completed stays pink.
Okay, and no design is gonna be the yellow, I guess, and green?
Yeah.
Is gonna differentiate the consent decree from everything else?
That's correct.
All right, I'm doing color charts, don't change nothing. All right, okay.
Okay.
Well, before you go there, can you also address a little bit about safety? We talking about money and putting boots on the ground going forward, since we're not OSHA compliant with these projects. I don't want our attorney to get in trouble either, but what are we doing to make sure of safety once we get boots on the ground? What are we gonna be doing? Can you give me a snapshot of that?
Yeah, two really
Because I looked
important.
at the reason why, if you look at the first diagram you showed us on Shalva Road, I looked at the trench box. They looked good. It had metal plates on the side and all that, escape route. And what are we doing going forward? We put boots on the ground.
Well, we certainly made sure
You
we
gave me a good
took
picture.
we
You
brought
took a great picture.
that we had the right picture.
You did a good picture, okay. But what are we doing going forward?
But no, and
Sure, sure.
certainly safety is critical in the CIP management.
It's Cobb County.
Yeah, it's Cobb County. Don't say that. We're being taped. Okay.
That was a joke.
That was a joke? Yeah. But we're doing, go ahead, seriously, what are we doing with safety?
No, the CIP program management staff, we will have a safety person dedicated that will be reporting to me.
Good.
And will provide oversight of everything that we're doing, certainly in the construction, but
Excellent.
even in our offices, we make sure that nobody's have cords across the floors and trip or
Excellent.
anything
Okay.
that way. It is an issue. We have had, we've seen conditions that have caused concern. The corrective measures have been taken in a number of areas. Not only from, you've got to look at it not only from the case of injuries, but any potential impact from damages that could come to, other properties and all. The second thing, and what's related to that, is the owner-controlled insurance program. We're still in the final steps of reviewing what the recommendation that we've gotten from our risk management folks. We're leaning toward a policy that, or at least a program that's general liability, but we still have the option to make it one of general liability and workers' comp. There are a lot of advantages in that, also in terms of providing some access to the right insurance for small businesses that may struggle in that area, and put them in a position to compete for work if we have a wrap-up insurance program. But another component of that would come through our broker, and this relates to safety. Certainly, the way we keep the cost to the program down is to not have injuries or claims.
Right.
So, and safety is a big part of that.
Sure.
And we will supplement our safety staff through the owner-controlled insurance program. At least that's the current plan.
Okay, Mr. Williams, can you make sure you talk to this committee about OSIP, where we are as it relates to payments, and then future payments, how we're gonna pay that, and out of which fund, and those kind of things?
Sure.
And that can be a conversation offline. I think the commissioners need to have that information.
Okay.
That's
Sure.
what OSIP.
You want to-
So how many safety personnel will we have or need?
I don't know the number.
Okay.
Well, I know we need them.
But certainly enough. We don't need to, be shorthanded when we begin to look at safety. And keep in mind, not all of the contractors have significant safety responsibility themselves. A lot of what we have to do on our side is on the front side and making sure that they have, reviewing their safety plans and making sure that they have, the right people on the job sites, and that they're conscious of all of our requirements for safety.
Okay, so as we plan for this, this is something you'll have to address immediately, right?
That's correct.
And what would be the budgetary impact?
Not much at all. I think on the OSIP side, we there's a potential of some savings with that. But if anything, if the cost won't be anything significant, if it does go over.
Ms. Gwen, Madam Gwen, yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. The finance department is responsible for risk management. You and I'll have a conversation with Larry Jacobs, who is
Right.
our risk guy,
Right.
and we'll figure out. There is one risk analyst, safety officer assigned to Watershed.
Okay.
But we can work out the details of it and get
Okay.
back to you.
And give the commissioner and us the figure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that we're going forward, once we do have the boots on the ground, we're spending money, we safety conscious, know what we're dealing with.
Yes, sir.
And that we're prepared.
And we're prepared.
Yes.
You're right. Zach, you have something?
Yes, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
What this is triggering in my mind, maybe, I don't know if next meeting or the one after, we can present how we are going to manage the program.
Okay.
I think we spend a lot of time talking about the what, and we will break out this so it's maybe more succinct. But we've had a lot of conversations on structure
Right.
and ensuring that we are assigning enough staff to the program to make it run and oversee the various program managers and such. So if you'd give us maybe 30 days to really fine tune what we're talking about, but I think it would help, and then you'd be able to see how the safety personnel are going to be assigned and where they're going to fit in the overall structure, how we're dealing with OSIP and other things. I think that may be a good context
Yeah.
conversation.
We can add that to the agenda. We can do that, that'd be great. I think it's a very good question, so we make sure that we get that done. And Antoine got that, okay.
The second to the last table is the cash flow. And that remains the same, and it's just the details of the chart that you saw previously. And then the last chart is or at least last table is the detail on the expenditures.
Okay.
Go
Before we go to the last one, talk a little bit about office space. Commissioner Sutton brought it up last time. You were gonna talk to us a little bit about that. If you can, if not, I'll go to Zach.
Yeah, we haven't finalized any decisions. We've looked at what the options are within county property. We've taken a good look at an option in terms of leasing space. We've got probably one more thing internally to look at before we make a decision on that. And we'll be sitting down with that and coming up with a conclusion on that shortly.
Okay. And then before you give me this key project activities, can you talk a little bit about, are there anything we need to do for reporting, anything we need to report in December to the appropriate authority, regulatory compliance, those kind of things? Are there any hidden dangers before, this is almost October, December reporting will be in place? Are there any hidden dangers that you can talk to me about today or offline that we can make it work for December?
Well, I think we've been covering those things that where there were any concerns in the key project activities. We call it consent decree recovery. We
That's
had
the
an
last
emergency
page,
RFP
Right.
that was for the MMS program. That is progressing well, and no issues have come up that could concern us that we won't make our deadline.
Okay.
That the team is working pretty hard on that. The key thing in terms of December is the annual report. There are things that we need to continue to move along in the program, and we do have some items that are moving toward the agenda related to those activities that we can do. There's been some already on CCTV, sewer cleaning, and then extending the manhole rehab contracts that we currently have. Those things are the things that can help us to, by December, show that we're
working.
actively doing some things and have made some progress, and will give us something that we plan.
Okay.
We won't, probably the consent decree program manager will not start until November. And so there's not a lot that they'll do to impact anything we'll report in December.
Right.
But we'll be able to put that there on board.
Right.
And be able to spell out that.
For the other board, we did the emergency RFP, so bring CHM2 here along. And we're gonna be ready for December. I just wanna make sure for the record, we got 60 days going forward, that those reports are done before December without any hidden, things that might come up to bite us later on. We've already done all that, so I just wanna make sure for the record we had it done, or working toward their goal.
That's correct. I mean,
Okay, all
there are
right.
things that we certainly need to catch up on, but I think all the pieces that are, and we'll have that in place. On the operations and maintenance support and the things that we spelled out in the CMON program, we do have provisions in that to provide additional support that Charles needs to
Okay.
kind of push those things along.
Right, we're well versed in our construction and our reporting part, because we've already done the annual report, we have
Okay.
semi-annual reports, I have quarterly reports, and then we have some monthly updates that we do. We're in almost the second complete year of those. So we've got those down pretty well with our legal team helping us to review that, making sure that what we committed to in the documents for the program that have been
Sure.
submitted and approved by the EPA are actually being done and reported to them in the next year.
Okay, we'll make sure. And then we suspended some of the key action items like the fall program for the sewer cleaning. Does that mean also that we stopped doing manhole rehabilitation and some pipe bursting or something? Did we
Well,
suspend
those
that?
things have slowed, and some is due to what we perceived as the structure of the contracts that we have. I don't think we added enough scope in those contracts.
Okay.
And we're working to add some things on that. We have some additional RFPs that are in the process to try to help,
Okay.
at least not our invitations to bid,
Okay.
to go out to add to those services. But we, one, need to take advantage of the contracts we have in hand. I mean, it's quite a bit. If you look at those line items and how they're funded, it's a big number
Through
because,
CIP, yeah, I got you.
because there's a lot to do.
Yeah, because I know the last one we talked about doing some rehabilitation with the manholes, putting the concrete casting around them so they wouldn't be stolen and sold as scrap or something like that. And so I just want to make sure that we're continuing to work, although we have suspended some of the program.
Right, we're doing the day-to-day items that
Okay.
come up,
Mhm.
and as we go through and we evaluate based on spills and whatever, we also identify within an eighth of a mile of any spill, any other improvements we have to make. So we're using our existing contractors for
That's
that.
what I want to
Get
hear.
our program manager on board, those programs should expand, because they'll be able to do a little bit more evaluation work than we can, and identify areas and directly manage those contracts for us.
Okay, good, all right. All right, Ken, you got a
Okay.
question?
We've talked about the OSIP as I go down the list of the other key activities. Let me go back up to one, and we discussed that already, and that's the expediting the pre-construction. We went through those things, the consent decree program management, the CI program management, and the CIP engineering
Engineering
services.
services, yes, sir.
On the cost estimating, I mentioned that is progressing. That's a key activity right now to make sure that we have a solid baseline on costs going forward. The LSB program enhancements, I thought we'd have a report on that today, but
Okay.
Commissioner
That's why I
Sutton,
asked you about, lien
let me
waivers.
apologize, and we'll hopefully have something in
And,
2
okay, and
weeks.
the cash flow projection, and we'll go forward.
Right, and we've talked about the CIP Program Management Office. And on Snapfinger, as everybody know, eventually, once we go through Phase 3, there'll be nearly $300 million on that. Phase 1 is active, and we have gotten the CIP program, the Phase 2 construction manager on board, and they're progressing.
All right, any additional questions? I hate to go back again, but let me just one more time to follow, and y'all probably shoot me, but we need to make sure that we work with staff to make sure that we put some enforcement requirements in as we go along. With the fall meeting, it's gonna be when? Thursday, next when?
Yeah, it's gonna be update.
Update.
In October.
In October, and we want to just make sure, Charles and Zach, that we start working on something that we can put in enforcement requirement. We have a pilot program with the multifamily dwelling
Okay,
apartment
hotels,
complex.
or not the
So we
apartments,
start
gotcha.
working toward making sure that we have some enforcement requirements as we continue to do the work in the fog area
Okay.
while we're going along. Okay? All right. Yes, ma'am, go ahead. Okay, all right. Anything else? Did I miss anything? Zach, you got anything?
No, we'll
Madam
get you,
All right. Nothing at all? Let me get see any questions from the audience as it relates to consent decree or CIP before I move to your question. Anybody in the audience? Great, wonderful. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yesterday I was out in the community and ran across a huge problem that's in 4 and 7.
Okay.
There is what appears to be a pump station being constructed in Gwinnett County, but it's on the border, and there's one of our most prominent neighborhoods right here on this side of the street, and a pump station is right here.
What street is that?
That's on Deer Creek. It's going into the Deer Creek subdivision.
Deer Creek?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I don't understand how that happened without the community being notified. One of the constituents said that the contractor said they only notified people in Gwinnett County. Their subdivisions aren't around there. We have houses right here, and it's woods on the Gwinnett County side. And they also told them that this is in conjunction with us, so we required them to do it. I don't understand how that could be the case, but I want to know if anybody in here knew anything about it yet. I've been asking about it, and I know that when it started, most of you all weren't here, but I know Mr. Lambert's been here for a minute. Do you know anything about
Doug,
that?
Yeah, I know we were on the trip this year, and,
I'm not sure.
anyway, we're trying to find, I've made some calls to Gwinnett County
Okay.
Water Resources, but
Does anybody in the cab know anything about it?
no.
I'll call their manager.
Okay.
But the reason why is because of the 5 GPM blowback.
Okay, somebody knows about it. Come and tell us,
What you
please.
got, Charleston?
Okay, what we had, Gwinnett actually is authorized to send 5 million gallons a day flow to our system.
Combined sewer
About
flow.
a year
Okay.
ago, they withdrew sending anything to us.
Mhm.
And they were doing their own plans for what to do in the whole county. It's a major construction project for them. They didn't tell us what they were going to do, only that they were not sending it to us anymore. So we're in the dark also about what their construction
Jackie, you
plans
can
are,
look at
because
this.
they don't
I
involve
will,
us.
I will.
It's in their backyards. It's awful. It's just really awful.
No.
Can you, I'm gonna ask Mr. Wills if we can
I'll
help
get
with
you
that.
something, and as a matter of fact, we'll get you something in writing in the next few days that explains what is going
I'm gonna
on.
drive
And there
by.
would seem to be a public notification process, but
And if
Oh,
there's
this is new
anything
to
we
me.
can do, any reparation, that's gonna affect their property values. It's
It's
just
bad.
really, really, really
I
bad.
drive by, you know, I don't know about
I'll
it.
show you.
Okay. I didn't hear about it, I'm sorry, missed that. Okay, Mr. Williams, you
Well,
gonna
they
tell
were
us
misinformed. They thought that some pipes were just being
Being
laid down.
replaced.
And then all of a sudden, you see this big, huge,
substation that did not exist prior.
right.
Okay, okay. All right, we're
I
looking at
know
that.
big and huge
You
is the
may-
same thing, but.
Big, yes, same thing, big, huge, okay. All right, so, as takeaway, we're gonna do something with OSIP. I think, Ms. Gwen said she will help us with that. Eventually, Madam Attorney says she will see what we have to do with construction law if need be in the facility. We'll do something again to update on fall. We'll revisit the action plan, for the next 60 days to December and talk about, safety as well as how we're gonna ramp up to put boots on the ground to make it work for us going forward. And then, any other, information that we need from the committee, just, we'll make sure it works for us as well. Did I miss anything, Antoine?
Minutes.
Oh, I need the minutes. Did I miss anything?
And an update on lien waiver and fog enforcement.
Lien waiver and fog enforcement. Lien waiver for Commissioner Sutton, wanted that you gonna bring something to that, to the table for that.
Scared to ask.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. That's pretty good, okay. All right, before we adjourn, the minutes, you were present at the last meeting. Entertain a motion, I have a second.
I move that we approve the minutes.
I would second that. Any
From last
discussion?
meeting?
From the last meeting?
Mhm.
Any discussion? I don't hear any discussion. How about that? You ready to vote?
Yes.
I am too. All in
Okay.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes clearly have it. Motion to adjourn?
I move that we approve.
So moved. Feel good?
I feel good.
Stand on your feet. Okay. Thank y'all for coming.
That's a wrap, huh?
Some money for me.
I need a copy of that.
Watershed budget to hire an attorney.
Let me
People
go.
are serious. They want me to have an attorney.